Good evening, and thank you for having me. Thank you to Mrs. Hannigan for setting up this board meeting for me tonight. I'm glad to be here. Now let's get this board meeting started. I'm here to discuss the one topic no one ever wants to talk about, sex. What I really mean is sex education for your kids grades 6 through 12. There's no doubt that many parents in this room think otherwise, whether they think their kids are too young to learn about sex or that maybe having a sex education program will make them want to have some more sex. Well, that's not always the case. I bet half the parents in this room think otherwise. Enough of what I think. Enough of me discussing what I think you guys believe. Let's dive into what I'm going to discuss with you tonight. First, we're going to discuss the health benefits of having a sex education program. Next, we're going to discuss the social benefits of having a sex education that might affect your children. And lastly, the logistical side of having a sex education program. Now, if all of you could flip to the first page of your portfolios. At the top, it clearly states we're going to talk about the health benefits of having a sex education program in our middle and high schools. One thing all parents want is for their kids to be healthy. Sex always has its risks, but with the sex education program, your children can learn the health risk and how to prevent them. First, let's start from the beginning. The very first way that teachers and parents try to teach their kids about sex is through abstinence. Abstinence is a choice of not having sex at all. According to Advocate of Youth, a comprehensive sex education program doesn't just teach about contraception and teen pregnancy, but that abstinence is the best way of avoiding unwanted teen pregnancy and STDs. Well, we all know not all your kids are going to go the abstinence way. That is why by having a sex education program, they also teach about condoms and how they prevent unwanted teen pregnancies and STIs. STIs are a sexually transmitted infection that it usually follows when not using a condom correctly or failing to use one at all. With the sex education program, adults qualified to teach can inform your children about STIs, the types, and how to prevent them by using condoms. A sex education program also teaches that by using contraception can also prevent unwanted pregnancies. According to CULU 100 Years, throughout the 1990s, nationwide, there has been a decrease in teen pregnancies and an increase in condom usage in sexually active teenagers. Health experts also say that a comprehensive sex education program is top on the list for probable causes. Now, if you could all flip to the next page of your portfolios, where we will discuss, at the top it clearly states where we'll discuss the social benefits of having a sex education program. A sex education program doesn't just teach about contraception and unwanted pregnancies, but also the dangers that come with it. It may also bring up the topic of sex violence. A sex education program is an opportunity to teach your children about consent and healthy relationships that will allow for your children to be safe. It is also the opportunity to teach that a healthy relationship is one of the most important ways of avoiding sex violence. According to Action Canada, a comprehensive sex education program will allow your children to become more practiced in thinking about caring for one another. If you think about it, sex violence usually starts with the ones that we love, whether it's a boyfriend or even a friend. Regardless, we know them in some way. Which is why it is crucial to focus on healthy relationships and empathy for one another. According to Harvard.edu, your children can learn these things by having a sex education program held in your schools. A sex education program also empowers girls to know the language in situations where things might become uncomfortable for them, such as saying no, thus avoiding situations that may compound to sex violence. This education also helps boys understand that no means no, even in situations where intimacy has already begun. It also helps boys with serious regret and unintended criminal consequences that should arise if girls change their mind during intimacy. Imagine your little girl in a situation that she is entirely unprepared for, one that perhaps has progressed far faster than she could ever have intended. What does she do if she hasn't been empowered to know that she has a right to say no? Does she let herself be compromised and victimized because she hasn't been able to get the appropriate education? No one should ever have to go through a situation like that. Now, if you could all flip to the last page of your portfolios where we would discuss the logistical side of having a sex education program. Today, more and more schools are taking on the roles traditionally held by parents. By having a sex education program, they can extend that role to where uncomfortable parents may not feel like taking on the role. There's no doubt that many parents in this room are most likely uncomfortable with talking about sex with their kids. This usually results in their kids going to peers in the hallway and hearing information that isn't entirely true, because their friends say it and they believe it. With a sex education program, they can hear the right information from the right people. According to ACOG.org, a comprehensive sex education program is medically accurate, evidence-based, and age-appropriate. This way, kids can learn the right information instead of hearing it from uncomfortable parents and peers in the hallway. According to health.gov, talking to your kids about sex isn't easy, but very important, and it's never too young to start. Many schools now have integrated to 6th through 8th grade. Many parents who have young kids that are going into the 6th grade haven't talked to their kids about sex yet because they think that they are too young to. But once they migrate to the 6th grade, it's nothing like an elementary school. They aren't prepared to hear about sex in the hallways. But with a sex education program we can create that is age appropriate, we can still inform them about sex and what they hear in the hallways. According to Wesley Center for Women, 16% of boys and 15% of girls are less likely to have sex than boys and girls who haven't had a sex education program. Thank you all for coming tonight. I hope you all really realize that having a sex education program in our schools will help your children learn about sex. I hope you go over the topics that I have discussed tonight, such as the health benefits, the social benefits, and the logistical benefits of having a sex education program. Thank you for coming, and if you have any questions about the program, I'm here to help you.